Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships for our Tuesday edition video. And this is the Tier 10 British Battleship, a Battlecruiser, the St. Vincent, with our commander Nelson, Azraline Nelson. Speaking of which, there will be an Azraline event coming up, I think in a couple days or something. Stay tuned to World of Warships news if you're interested in accumulating more Azraline commanders. So, St. Vincent, first impressions. We're going to have a pretty good battle. I'm going to talk about some pros and cons of the ship from the WoW's wiki, give you more of my thoughts on the ship in general, as I'm divisioned up with Doombeagle, clan commander of ADF, and he is in the Benham. So we're going to have, both of him and I are going to have a pretty good game. So we're basically going to flank around north here on, I don't remember the name of this map. Anyhow, tends to, a lot of battles are decided whoever wins the 7, 8, 9, 10 line. And usually, in my experience, if you are the north spawn, you tend to always have an advantage versus the team coming from the south. So with that being said, St. Vincent from the WoW's wiki, in November 1920, the further development of the Battlecruiser project was presented project, I think that's I3. It fundamentally differed from its predecessors. The main armament was concentrated at the bow of the ship and the propulsion unit was moved to the stern. This allowed the magazine to be placed in the widest part. The ship was faster than her predecessors, however the displacement and size of the ship didn't suit the Admiralty, so the project was sent back to the drawing board. But here in World of Warships, a paper ship or a ship that never existed, or a BS ship, can exist. The land of pixie dust in World of Warships. So what makes this ship so unique? Okay, I'm going to just give you my thoughts and I'll continue with WoW's wiki article. Okay, as the article or the reference is that your armament is on the front of the ship. So with St. Vincent, Wargaming put on 9 457mm guns, and these guns are really good. The high explosive is devastating, the armor piercing is devastating, and all in all, it's, this main battery is really fun. With the high explosive, with no commander skill or combat signals taken, your fire chance is 63%. So I kind of also reference this ship as a bit of a fire-breathing dragon with these 457mm guns. And you can, with combat signals, you can bump that up to 65%. And then with Demolition Expert on your commander, you can bump that up to 66%. That's the max fire chance that you can get here with St. Vincent on these 457mm guns. The other thing that makes this ship rather intriguing in terms of her armament is her nuclear torpedo warheads. That's right, her nuclear torpedo warheads is what I like to refer to them as. So a little bit of information on these torpedo tubes. You get 2 torpedo tubes, one on either side of the ship. They're 602mm torpedoes, and they have a rotation speed is 12 degrees. The reload is 45 seconds, which, pair it into Adrenaline Rush. You can, have these torpedoes loading 43, 42, maybe even close to 40 seconds. Their maximum damage, and why I call these torpedoes nuclear warheads, is that they're 29,367 damage if you manage to land a hit. And then, of course, it depends on the ship's torpedo belt protection. Now, one of the reasons why I keep looking over my shoulder here to the right is I think there's a Vermont in the back spawn, and so I'm being very mindful of him possibly taking a shot on us, because one of the weaknesses of this ship is indeed, there it is, her armor. She's a battle cruiser, and she's got pretty soft armor scheme, and also a lower health pool than majority of most battleships here in World Warships at Tier 10. So it's kind of the way they nerfed the ship in exchange for that. Besides her torpedo tubes and main armaments, the other thing that she has going for her is that the fact that her concealment is quite good. When our fire penalty bloom diminishes here, I'll tell you what exactly the max concealment is. 12.8 kilometers is what you can build max into. And that's pretty cheeky to get that close with these 9 457mm guns. In addition to her concealment, she has the engine boost, meaning you can get around the map pretty quickly depending on what's going on. And you have a monster repair party, quite well known for the British battleship line, you know, like that Conqueror heal that Conqueror is so infamous for. You get here on St. Vincent. So if you take the India Delta combat signal, you can get a ability heal back a lot of damage. And one of the things also to mention with the health too is that you only get 3 repair parties. So if you want to take, I can't remember the name of the skill, if it's emergency repair expert or something, it will give you a 4th heal. So that is something you're definitely going to want to pick up here on St. Vincent, which I'll talk about more in detail on Saturday when I do an upgraded commander build video here on the St. Vincent. But for now, I think we're basically running a 14-point skilled commander, although I think I have her up to 18 points now. But 14 points for now. Other things to make mention of with the ship is that she also gets defensive AA consumable, so that is quite nice. So you can pack a little bit of a punch with your AA, but it's nothing I would say is to brag about in that example. So let's talk about the pros that Warships, or the Wild's Wiki article has listed in addition to her cons. Her pros is that her Citadel is actually waterline, so meaning a lot less likely to get citadeled because of that Citadel being beneath or at waterline, I should say. So you do have to aim well if you're wanting to citadel the St. Vincent. Accurate guns with Battlecruiser dispersion and 30mm overmatch. Okay, so she gets the Battlecruiser dispersion. I'm not sure when you compare the ship to Thunder, because they both have the same fire chance, so on and so forth, but Thunder's DPM, I think, is a little bit better than Thunder. Actually, I can look at that real quick. Yeah, so about just 27,000, depending on what's going on. Better damage per minute in terms of the high explosive. But you have 1.6 Sigma on St. Vincent, Thunder 1.9, and St. Vincent has just ever so slightly better maximum horizontal and maximum vertical dispersion, as we're going to be taking on another St. Vincent here. Shorter AP fuse time, so that's kind of one of the things that makes this AP rather deadly, especially on cruisers, something like the Minotaur booster, things of that nature. So it means you're less likely to just simply overmatch and your AP shell just sails through the broadside cruiser target and never arms, right? So that's really strong. You have a fast turret traverse. The torpedoes have the torpedo turning mechanic. So I think I end up launching some torpedoes, so you'll see that in action. Strong medium range AA, damage per second. Has fast speed for a battleship. You also have the improved acceleration built in, so that has actually been, you can have a lot of fun with that, and it's quite trollish. Good concealment, we talked a little bit about that, 12.8, right? Access to specialized repair teams, access to defensive A, fire consumable, and access to the engine boost consumable. Now in terms of cons, there's a lot less listed here. Weak, easily overmatched bow and stern plating, especially true, so you gotta watch for the other ships that overmatch you, like the enemy St. Vincent in Vermont. We're going against, they both easily overmatch us with their 457mm guns. And the stern, right? You have a flat butt stern on this ship, so it's if someone aims well enough, it is possible to arm it inside the ship and maybe even reach your citadel, so you can be mindful of that. You have a low torpedo damage protection, so you don't have a high torpedo protection belt. You have poor long range AA, damage per second, and low flak count. So again, that's why I wasn't saying that AA is nothing to brag about here on St. Vincent. And you have a rather poor turning circle radius. So with that being said, let me just give you more of my thoughts on the ship. And what I would say about St. Vincent. Here we haven't even used a heal yet. We're going to get a lot of potential damage this game. It's just going to be only increasing here in a bit. I'm holding my position here because if I push out beyond this, if you pay attention to the rest of my team's position, besides our two cruiser friends over onto the right, we don't really have anyone else drawing fire away. We have battleships still way up on the B line and then on the C line. So I'm likely to be priority target 1 for enemy ships. Especially since both of my cruisers are backing off, so it would be very unwise of me to push out here against those 4 ships in the middle and the St. Vincent that's still kiting us. Oh, there goes St. Louis, so Buffalo whacked him, so that's good for us. I like this ship. This battleship, I would say, is one of the few battleships in World Warships that can perform well at all ranges. So normally when I talk about a battleship, I say, so there's the turning, the torpedo. I talk about what type of battleship is it? Is it a brawling battleship? Is it a long-range sniper battleship? Is it a mid-range battleship? Most battleships in the game, pretty much mid-range battleships. But St. Vincent, I mean, honestly, if you're asking me of the 3, if I had to choose between the 3, I would say she's a mid-range battleship. You play around that, let's say 10 to 15 kilometer window, you know, ideally around her concealment being that 12.8, which you can see we're just right at the range of that. So if we just back off a little bit, we can go dark here and not have the Alaska spotting us if need be. But you have to keep in mind, she can't push in with these 457mm guns, can close distance really quickly with her engine boost. Particularly her trump card being her nuclear torpedo warhead. And if you position right as you're pushing in, you can pop off both torpedoes, and you know that has a very short reload time. So you can do drive-by engagements if need be here on St. Vincent. So she does well in that brawling sense. The other thing you've seen the enemy St. Vincent doing is that the enemy St. Vincent has been a bit of a kiter on us, right? So he's kited away. Now we're burning through our repair parties as we take out the San Martin. And he's been slugging high explosive and armor piercing at us, you know. So I respect the St. Vincent. I've been respecting the enemy Vermont, as now we're dark at this point in time. So St. Vincent can kite with these 9 457mm guns. And playing that long range is what I'm trying to get at. So it is possible to do that. And playing this ship long range, mid range, and close range. Though I think ideally she plays best at that medium range of that 10 to 15 kilometers, give or take. But you have the speed to close the distance. You have the speed to disengage. Right, we can do both here with St. Vincent, just because how the ship's set up well. Now you will notice that you have to give a bit of a, you have to show a bit of side to get that 3rd turret off. Right now, yeah, we're not going to be able to get it off now, I think, on the enemy St. Vincent. You can see it's beginning. I only have the 1st and 2nd turret available. We turn back a little bit and get another salvo off here as I'm using the island here. That's why I'm reversing, because I want to go dark, as Doom is doing the spotting for us in the Benham, so we don't really need to unnecessarily expose our health, but we take a cheeky shot with the armor piercing. You see me firing a lot of high explosive this game, but now we can easily take on the armor piercing on the St. Vincent because I want to see how well the AP performs, as we've mostly been firing the high explosives. So I'm hoping the St. Vincent decides to go full on broadside. And he's turning, he's killing his speed from the looks of things. So we'll see what happens in this salvo. 10k, so we had a 13k salvo when he was bow on, a 10k salvo when he's broadside. So we're just going to be chilling here. So don't sleep on the armor piercing. I think that goes the same for Conqueror. You don't sleep on Conqueror's armor piercing. Though often, of course, the high explosive salvos regularly reward you, right? A 9k salvo, and he's dead. So he was pretty focused on us, so we're just waiting for Doom to get up in that position as he's getting a lot of usage out of his max adrenaline rush with how low his health is. So don't sleep on the armor piercing. That short fuse AP, like on the Conqueror, is quite nice, if I remember that fact correctly, that is. In terms of positioning with this ship, you have to recognize you are a battle cruiser. You don't have a lot of armor. You know, a lot of things can overmatch you in the game, and I'll break that down on Saturday when we look at the upgraded commander build, talking about the thickness of her armor, so on and so forth, particularly on the bow and stern. So you can take a lot of damage really quickly. You can heal a lot of damage back quickly, but you can also take a lot of damage really quickly, resulting in possible death. So you do have to be mindful of your teammates' positioning. So you can still see here, besides myself and Doom, kind of almost the closest. I mean, the ships that are in that, well, the Massachusetts just went down to the key. You know, we're pretty close to the enemy team still, so if I decided to just W it, it's likely that the Alaska, Vermont, and the key will focus me down. So we're not too anxious in wanting to overextend ourselves. That's where the St. Vincent can, I would say, in my time of playing the ship since this video, is that if you're not careful, like Georgia with that engine boost, you can easily overextend yourself and be in an unfavorable positioning. In addition, because of how bad her turning circle radius is and her armor scheme, you do need to be mindful of enemy battleships who might want to take advantage of your lack thereof of armor. But with as much as you're able to regularly start fires with this ship, you can exhaust the DCPs, you can exhaust repair parties on enemy ships, right? So this Alaska, he DCP'd, we returned with a double fire, and indeed the fire is what's going to kill him, as we still have a teammate there in the background shooting, not sure who. So that's kind of, I guess, the strong suit. So a lot of players would be tempted to regularly shoot a high explosive with St. Vincent, and that's fine. I mean, it's good, but if you get situations where you can utilize armor piercing, please do so. Now, we're being careful here. This is the Vermont. I'm expecting another salvo from Vermont because it looks like he's about to go through the channel gap there, and indeed he did. He slowed down, waiting for to get that salvo off. So here we use that. You see that acceleration network without engine boost even, and we're simply going to move forward and completely avoid the Vermont salvo. Now note, when I made the last comment about potential damage, we are at 1 million. Now we're up to 2.6 million and 180,000 damage, and that's only going to keep going up as we pick up our 11th fire. Now, as Key is kiting, he probably fears the destroyer, Doom, of course, so he's backing off. Now here, I don't need to push into Key, so I'm actually gonna now, because concealment allows me to, even though I have a fire burning, that puts us at 14.8 kilometers. I'm gonna go ahead and turn and disengage. I used the damage control party already. We have no more heals. So if you had that fourth heal, right, that I don't have here yet, because I have concealment and fire prevention, we would be a lot better off here, because then I would just pop another heal here and we'd probably be back up to 20k easily. If, depending on how much we're able to heal back, because a lot of this has been some fire damage and some overpinning. But now you get to see one of the strong suits of that, again, that propulsion I've talked about. We're just going to sit here and we're going to rock back and forth. And being at range allows us to do so rather easily, making it very difficult for Key to land a salvo. One of the things you want to do, utilize when you can, is, when your guns are reloading, there's no sense of having your whole ship exposed to get all 3 turrets off. Ship's about to reload, Vermont's still trying to get us, so I have to be mindful of that. Then we can get our 3 turrets off, and then we're going to just simply turn out again, more away from the Key. And the Key doesn't have the same luxury as us. You can't accelerate as fast as we pick up the high Confederate and high caliber here as well. So Doom is essentially putting pressure on the Key, forcing the Key to have to come back because he's capping. This is standard battle. And with this low of health, Key's frustrated. He's actually stopped shooting at us for now. With low of health, we're getting a lot of mileage out of our adrenaline rush. I think we're roughly around 21 second reload right now. I end up looking at it at some point. I don't remember quite when, but here in a little bit we will. Yeah, here. 21.3 seconds. Really good to have here on St. Vincent, so we can pump out a lot of these salvos. As the battle's about to end here, as we tick up over 200,000 damage, 2.9 million potential damage. Will we get over 3 million potential damage? 5 seconds on the clock. Anyone's guess. And I can't remember if Vermont took another salvo at us. Yeah, he does. So he pushes us over 3 million potential damage. So again, you see that acceleration at work there, making one of the things that makes the ship stronger. And we end with Dreadnought, so you're going to see how much damage we healed in total with just 3 of those specialized repair teams. 205,000 damage, 13 fires to 2 destroyed. We got General Offensive, I think it was it Brothers in Arms, Confederate, Dreadnought, High Caliber. So really well there. High Caliber, myself and Doom, going to be 2nd and 3rd on the team, as our Hindenburg did a lot of work in that game. So hats off to him for having a really good game. And then going on over to the detailed report. So you can see damage received, 160,000 damage we took with 3.06 million potential damage. You can see damaged modules, gun, 22 AA, 4 secondaries, just on our end that we took. Then here with premium account, you can see how we ended as we spent 237,000 credits. This tier 10 is not the most profitable in the game by any means compared to tier 9, tier 8. So this is first impressions. St. Vincent's a very strong ship. I can definitely see why you're going to see the ship regularly in clan battles and King of Sea tournaments, just because of her consumables, her strengths, and kind of being this bow-on ship. Force of nature with this very high fire chance, because often Thunder tends to get banned from competitive for the fire chance, and we've seen a little bit of that with St. Vincent already too because of that high fire chance, but it's a smashing good time that you have in St. Vincent, so I do recommend this as a good battleship to play. So if you liked today's video, give a thumbs up. If you didn't, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you have subscribed already, I really appreciate it, as it helps continue to grow the community and channel here with you, as we're on our way to 1,500 subscriber goal. Friday, I'll have a battle highlight featuring the St. Vincent. I'll focus more on my positioning and commentary on gameplay. Then on Saturday, we'll do the upgrade and commander build video here on St. Vincent. So until next time, take care.